The famed Japanese swordsman Miyamoto Musashi once said, "If you know the way broadly, you will see it in everything." Although swordsmanship was Musashi's main discipline, he took an interest in other activities, pursuing them with the same focus as he did with the sword, and often seeking to apply his philosophy from martial arts to these other aspects of his life. Formally, I am no means a martial artist, but the topic of martial arts has always been prevalent in my life. My childhood days were filled watching Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, the college years obsessing over Bruce Lee, and now being an avid follower of MMA. The warrior spirit and the philosophy behind fighting is something that I've always been drawn to, and I like to think that I pursue my life activities through the mindset of a martial artist. In this video, I'm going to share some key principles from different martial arts that I feel have great relevance and application to climbing. These will include both overarching concepts to very specific techniques. If you climb or practice martial arts, I hope you find these insights to be helpful, and ultimately make you think a bit deeper about how interrelated everything is. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or BJJ, is one of the most distinct forms of combat you see in mixed martial arts. It's a type of grappling that's designed to control and ultimately submit a larger and stronger opponent. The secret to its success? Understanding leverage and body positions. One of the first principles of BJJ is called position before submission. In Jiu-Jitsu, there's a hierarchy of body positions, with each one affording better control over your opponent. Position before submission means establishing the correct position first before going for a submission. This principle of position before submission has direct application to climbing. When we execute a move on the wall, we need to be in a correct body position to both control the movement and to arrive at the target hold with control. If we move before we've established position, we'll oftentimes lose balance or become overextended. The best way to guarantee a correct body position is to look for a point of counterpressure to offset the direction of your pull. Here's an example on this black V4. The lower crux of this problem is coming across the corner when reaching for the side pull with the right hand. A lot of people are enticed by the good handhold and reach for it early while their entire body is situated to its left. This position affords almost no counterpressure to push against the pull of the right hand. And the moment you try to advance, you experience a sudden loss of balance and swing out from the wall. If we apply the principle of position before submission, we can use the foothold around the corner first to secure a bit of tension for when I flip the left hand. The heel hook with the right foot works in conjunction with the side pull of the left hand for a compression effect. Now I'm in a stable position to reach my right hand without my body swinging out. Position before submission is best applied to climbs with holds oriented at different angles. When reading such a problem, plan in advance and never rush. Establish your current position first and anticipate the position you need to arrive at the next move with control. When we think of powerful climbers, we often envision strong shoulders, a muscular back, and fingers of steel. Very little thought is given to the legs. While a strong upper body does contribute to a climber's power, the secret lies in the lower body. This concept of generating power from the legs is heavily stressed in the martial art of boxing. Mike Tyson, one of the sport's most powerful punchers, is known for the quote, "My power comes from the ground." At a glance, you would likely attribute Mike's punching power to his muscular arms, but if you inspect his technique closely, you'll notice that all his punches are initiated from his legs. To maximize the power of a punch, a specific chain of movements need to be well-timed and executed. It starts with a firm stance with the feet forming a solid connection with the floor. The movement is initiated by a slight pivot of the foot, pushing off the floor and transferring energy up the leg. The energy is sustained and accelerated by a rotation of the hips, followed up by a rotation of the torso and leading of the shoulder. The final movement in the chain is the extension of the punching arm and the snapping of the punch. While these punching biomechanics are complex and take time to master, you can take the core principle and apply it to climbing. Instead of power coming from the ground, it'll come from the wall. When setting up to do a move, switch your mind from a pull-initiated perspective into a push-initiated perspective. Drive the movement from the feet. Feel the connection of your feet on the wall, push off the footholds, and let your body move first before finally extending the arm. You might surprise yourself with a surplus of power you didn't think you had. To delve even deeper into the boxing to climbing analogy, I'm going to introduce the concept of pushing off the back foot. This technique is utilized heavily in boxing and can be seen in its most common punch, the jab. In a traditional boxing stance, the jab is thrown from the lead left hand with the movement initiated by the rear right foot. The foot pushes off the ground ever so slightly, pivoting right, helping rotate the hips clockwise, which is then followed by the torso. This drives the left shoulder forward, leading a natural extension of the arm, finishing with the punch. In climbing, we generally try to adhere to the principle of opposite hand and foot. For example, when we are reaching with the left hand, we should be moving off of the right hand in conjunction with the left foot. This pairing of opposite limbs is called contralateral movement and caters to our natural human locomotive mechanics. While opposite hand and foot provides us with a high degree of stability and tension, it's not always ideal for creating momentum. When the opposite points of contact are close together on the horizontal axis and farther on the vertical axis, we can easily push off the foot and create momentum. When these points of contact are further apart on the horizontal axis and/or closer on the vertical axis, it's harder to leverage the foot for pushing, and we rely more on locking off the arm. This is where pushing off the back foot comes into play. In the example of reaching with the left hand, we're primarily moving off of the right hand and left foot. The right foot is considered the back foot and is secondary in importance. However, it's this back foot that offers the best push angle to drive us towards the next hold. Without it, I'm pulling hard off the right hand and even a bit off the left foot to reach the hold. Here's a boulder problem that utilizes this technique perfectly. It forces you to start in an opposite hand and foot position with the points of contact quite far apart on the horizontal axis. The starting handhold is downward pulling, and the starting foot is smearing on a volume. This means my capacity to pull to the right to arrive at the target hold is very limited. However, if I use the back foot, I can push to generate more momentum. Even without an actual foothold, our back foot can push off of a smear to get us to our next hold. Have you ever tried hitting a heavy bag? It's way harder than it looks. The bag actually is heavy, and even when you're trying, it feels like your punches barely have any power. Now compare this with someone who is a master at punching, and you can both see and hear a difference. That's Floyd Mayweather, arguably one of the best boxers of all time. He's about my height and weight, but damn does he hit way harder than me. One of the reasons for this is because he's perfected the art of snapping his punches. In martial arts, one of the most nuanced techniques is the ability to snap your strike. Whether it be a punch or kick, the snap is the crucial final impact of the hit, like the end of a whip when it connects with its target. There are a lot of variables surrounding a good snap, such as distance management, timing the rotation of the body, and the quality of the strike. But in its essence, the technique is easy to explain. Be relaxed while throwing the strike, and tense right at the moment of impact. There's a technique in climbing that mimics the snap. It's called the dead point, and it's one of the most important tools to help you get through difficult moves. A dead point can be performed between holds of any distance that's just short of a dyno, and can be done from positions of varying body tension. The move consists of a slight compression away from the target hold, then a momentum-assisted expansion to the hold, where the hand connects to it at the moment of hover state when it's no longer going towards or coming away. If you're working on the dead point, the part to focus on is when the hand is moving towards the hold. You want to time it so that you flex your hand at the moment of impact, just like snapping a punch. But in this case, you want to also arrive at the hold as gently as possible. This means timing your distance so that you start to decelerate as you approach the hold, and also engaging your contact points so that you arrive at the hold with body tension. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and for letting me share these unusual analogies. Climbing is a very dear activity to me, and I hope to contribute to it by integrating thoughts and lessons I've learned from outside of it. Remember to stay curious and playful in your own pursuits, and until next time, move better, climb harder.